Good morning, everybody. You guys could do me a favor and put down any chairs that are up on the table near you. That would be very helpful. Thank you, thank you. All right, good morning, good morning. Today, man, we're missing a lot of people. Today, we're going to talk about finishing plates. So, first though, I do want to ask, did everything go okay on Thursday when I was gone? Yeah, so it looked like when I was looking at your photos from Thursday, it looked like some people were still working on their designs on Thursday, which is fine. Some people were working on feet and got that done, and that's fine. You'll have most of today. I'm going to go over like what I'm grading you on and turning the plate in and everything today. But you'll still have a lot of class time to work on it if you need to finish your plate. But I am really also excited about getting us moved on to our next project, the Raku project, and so we'll begin that tomorrow. So, so that's kind of our timeline for the next couple of days. Also, I don't know exactly when and where this is happening, but there was an email saying that there's going to be some practice drills this week. I don't know if any are going to affect our class, but just in case, if we have a lockdown drill, I'll just lock the door and we'll just keep doing what we're doing. If it's a fire drill, we'll go out through this door and then we'll congregate on that side of the parking lot. I'll take attendance out there and then we'll come back in through this door. That's one of the perks of having a door right out of my classroom. And so I think that's probably the only drills that we might have this week. So if it's in first hour, that's what we'll do. People at home, you can practice going outside your house for the fire drill and that'll be lots of fun. Okay, so the checklist for things you need to accomplish today. First, check what stage your plate is in. Hopefully it's still leather hard or dry leather hard. If you didn't do the foot on Thursday, do it today. And if you need help with that, I can certainly help with that. If you're doing the mold type of plate, then you should be rolling a slab of clay, using a ribbon tool, carving through that slab of clay, and then using the coil that you get or the ribbon that you get and scoring and slipping that in that transition point where your plate changes from being flat to being angled. That is the perfect zone for your foot, okay? So that's where the foot ring needs to go. Once that's done, it's all about refining. You know how we refined your little tiles for your wind chime? And we spent a lot of time smoothing and with a paintbrush and rounding edges and all that. That was practice for bigger projects like your plate. So you're going to spend a lot of time smoothing, using a wet paintbrush, just making sure there's no spurs where you might have carved into the clay, brushing those away when they're dry, just really, really making that surface look its best. And so ways to refine brushing or gently sanding away spurs, then smoothing lightly with a sponge, making sure there's no rough edges. That lip should be perfectly smooth and perfectly consistent. If you find that your lip is thicker on one side than it is on the other, just do a little carving back there and get that cleaned up so that it looks like it's the same thickness. Or if you have one side that's a little bit thinner, just maybe patch in a little bit of clay to thicken that area so that it looks more consistent. Because I'll tell you, your slab or your lip thickness is one thing I'm really going to be paying close attention to when you turn in your plate. Double check, make sure your name and or initials and hour number are carved into the bottom, please. That's really an important part of making work, is marking the work as your own. It's part of what I will give you points on. So specifically what I'm giving you points on, and you can still change and add to and improve these things if you haven't done them yet. The plate does need a sauce lip, which means that the lip is slightly higher than the center of the plate. The sauce lip should be level to the same height all the way around. If it's tacoed and higher on 2 points, see if you can't maybe gently push it back down. The slab is smooth in all non-decorated areas, so I expected you to stamp portions of your plate, but then maybe portions will be smooth and not stamped, so then just make sure that they're really smooth. The decorated areas are neat, balanced, and at least 50% stamped. So of all the designs that you put on there, at least half of those designs should come from stamping with your popsicle sticks. Okay, so if that isn't the case today, maybe add a little bit design work today. The lip is consistent thickness all the way around. The lip is smooth all the way around. A shallow foot, shallow just means it doesn't pop out very much. A shallow foot is securely joined, smooth, and balanced. Remember, you're taking the sponge and making it a little, like a Pac-Man shape, like a U shape, and just smoothing that on all sides around that foot ring. And that can be done on the wheel, too, if you're carving your foot on the wheel. The bottom shows your initials or signature and hour number. All spurs have been cleaned up when the clay is dry enough to do so. Remember, spurs are those little boogers that get displaced when you carve into the clay. You shouldn't get spurs from stamping, but you would from carving. And then finally, you're going to record a video of this, just like we did for your tiles. It should be each side of the plate for about 10 seconds. So I can really see each part for a decent amount of time. None of this done, okay? Your video needs to be a significant amount of time so I can see all parts of it. So just like for your tiles, you have 2 grades for this project. The video is one of the grades, and that's worth up to 50 points if you've done everything perfectly. And then the artist statement is worth 20 points. And so both of those are due today by 3 p.m. So the camera or the video thing, we've talked about this before. If you're using your phone, use it horizontal, use it in good lighting, make it stationary, hold up your plate from the front, hold it from the back, turn it so I can see all the sides for at least 30 seconds total. And for the paragraph, you're going to answer these questions. You're going to come up with a title for the piece. What could it be used for? Is this a sushi plate? Is this a dessert plate? Is it a fruit plate? You know, just what would you ideally want to use it for? Describe the designs you made, how you made them. Are they symmetrical? Are they asymmetrical? What parts of the project went well? What parts would you do over if you could? And do you plan to fire this project? So if you're here in person, there's a cart over here for the plate after you've done your video. There's a cart here for the plates that you want fired. If you don't want to fire it after you've done your video, it can be recycled in one of these buckets on the floor here. Incidentally, the tiles that you guys made, the ones that you wanted to be fired, are here. And if you fired your tiles, I'm going to talk to you guys individually, or not individually, but like separate as a group, to talk about some of your glaze options for these tiles. So just remember, there's those 2 assignments, the video and the artist statement. So your video should look something like this, where you're showing me all the edges. So here from this view, it's kind of a 3/4 view. I can see to the inside and I can see the lip all the way around. So I'm just turning it. I just have it on my slip container, so you can elevate it by putting it on your slip container. Turn it real slowly, show me the top at close range for about 10 seconds. And then flip it over and show me the foot at close range for about 10 seconds. And make sure that I can see your initials and your name and your hour number on the bottom, please. When it comes to the artist statement, it's the same thing you did for the tiles. You're going to copy and paste the prompt, which is already in Schoology, put it in a Word document or a Google Doc, and then answer the questions. So the artist statement I wrote about my cherry blossom plate, it's called Springtime. I always spelled it wrong, nice. Springtime Blossoms, because the cherry blossom design is stamped on the plate. I would put sushi on this plate because A, I love sushi, and B, cherry blossoms are associated with Japanese culture, and sushi is also Japanese food. I made the designs by carving tree branches with a toothpick, then stamping one popsicle stick for the inside of the petals and another for the outside of the petals. My design is asymmetrically balanced since the branches are not the same on both sides. I like the complexity of this. I like all the parts of the project, but maybe next time I would include less blossoms. I think the construction went well overall, but the foot ring could be more consistent. I will fire this project. All right. So for people working from home, definitely stick around. I want to chat with you guys in a little bit once we're done with the larger group. For people working from home, you can fire this project by bringing it in. I ask for everybody, if you're going to choose to fire something, if you can donate $1 to help cover the cost of the clay and the glaze that you're using. If you're bringing your piece from home, just stick $1 in the box. If you're here, you can just give it to me. If you're not able to pay $1 at this point, I'm not going to keep anybody from firing their work. You can certainly fire it. But if you are able to donate, that's very, very helpful. Thank you. So I'll talk more about this with the people who are at home. Also, people at home, I'm going to talk about the Raku clay that I have for you. So stick around. There's information on that. So I'm going to go back to this slide for the people who are here in person. Freeze it on that slide. I'm going to go check in with the folks who are at home right now. But before I do that, are there any questions that I can answer before you guys get to work for today? All right, cool. Get to it. I'll be back to help in about 5 minutes. People who are at home, stay on the line. If your plate is really, really dry today, that's my fear. Wrap a really wet paper towel around it and let it sit like that for about 5 minutes. All right. I'm going to go back to this slide for a second. I'll be right back, folks. Okay. People who are at home, you can still see my PowerPoint, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so now that we're getting into kind of bigger and better projects, I just wanted to reiterate the fact that you can bring things back in to fire them if it's important to you to do so. So just bring it back leather hard, make sure it's wrapped up really well in a box, make sure your name is on the box, and then just drop it off anytime, either up here in the ceramics room. I'm usually here till 3 every day, or if you need to just run in and run out, you can leave it at the greeter's desk by the attendance office, and then just send me a message so I know that it's there to go look for it, because I won't necessarily go looking for it. Okay, so now this is the really important part. If you're a VLA student, this does not apply to you, because if you're a VLA student, when I packed up your swag bag, I gave you Raku clay, and that's the clay we're going to start using tomorrow. So if you're a VLA kid, this particular announcement is not for you. This is for the kids who are quarantined, which means you're only out temporarily, because when I put together a box for you, I did not have Raku clay at that point. So you did not have Raku in that little box that I put together for you. So what I have now, quarantiners, is down by the attendance office behind the greeter's desk. I have this bucket, this clear plastic bucket with little bags of Raku clay. It's about 2 to 3 pounds of clay. That's how much we're each going to use. There's also a wooden stick inside the bag too, and you'll understand why we're using that tomorrow as well. So ideally, it would be awesome if you could have a friend stop by and pick that up for you today, just one bag, or a family member stop by and pick that up today by, I think they lock those doors at 3 p.m. So you would need it for tomorrow for sure. So today is the ideal day to pick it up, but you could pick it up tomorrow as well. And again, this is just for the kids who are quarantining. If you are VLA and you have your swag bag that you picked up at the start of the trimester, you already have what you need, okay? So I'm going to go back to actually looking at you guys. And I'm going to stop recording, and I'm going to